Is it one of the best opening scenes in movies?
Yeah,
I think it could be up there.
Most memorable, man. In terms of intro to a villain, there hasn't really been that much since, definitely.
Some other nominations, I got The Dark Knight, Skyfall, Goodfellas, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Saving Private Ryan. They're all different. They're all great for their different reasons. Like Dark Knight, that also introduces a villain, that whole bank heist, and it ends with Heath Ledger's the Joker.
If you're talking about out of those that are able to just use dialogue,
this does it perfectly.
In the most unassuming of
it's just two
places,
characters talking around a table and the cameras are slightly moving and going in different directions just for 20 minutes. So for that to do that alone, like you said, with the dialogue is quite amazing.
The way that Waltz, that is, just switches from being all charismatic, drinking the milk, you're sheltering enemies of the state, aren't you? And he's like, yes. And then he's like, they're under the floorboards, aren't they? He's like, yes. And he just gets it all out of him.
Even when he's coming up with it, he's in English. But then you got to think about, all right,
how's he directing?
But how's he directing? But also, like, the way they say certain words is different with a certain language. So that your inflection for certain things is going to be different if you say it in German compared to if you say it in English, for example. So the way he's got to figure that out and then still build that tension with everything else is just... It's so good. And then, the Fassbender doing that instead of the German three.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you can see, like, he as soon as he says it, his head doesn't drop, but his eyes kind of do. Yeah. And you're like, oh, shit, he knows. And you're like, oh, fuck, what happened? You don't know what happened until she explains it later on.
Yeah,
like,
you can tell in that scene there's that over-the-shoulder shot of the Major and Von Hammersmark's just like, oh, fuck, he's done. Yeah. He's done here.
She's just, like, sunk into a chair and just like, fuck.
Yeah.
But even you see the three and you see his eyes just staring at them.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes from kind of still being a bit jokey.
Because he already had his question marks when he was asking, when he was questioning about his accent, like you said before. So that just put him over the edge. And that led to my favourite line in the whole movie where Fassbender says, well, if this is it, old boy, I hope you don't mind. I go out speaking to kings. And he just lights up his cigarette and just starts to drink. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, he's just so cool. When
Smack has the huge car and Lander's like, wait, that's how you got your accident? And
he just walks away.
Yeah, because he knows it's a lie. That's what she's come up with.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, what mountains are there in Paris? And she's like, just like,
And then he takes her into that little room, little closet, gets out the shoe that she left in the tavern, and just strangles her.
I didn't realize this, but I saw this the other day that it cuts to maybe 2 seconds of her getting strangled so hard.
That's in the rewatch, the scene that I cannot watch.
So he was actually going for it, wasn't he?
He did the choking. Tarantino did it.
Oh, Tarantino.
Because he knew that.
That's even weirder.
I know, because he knew that no one would go
as hard as he could.
And she was comfortable with it.
And of course, the whole thing revolves around she loses her shoe, so he's got to get the shoe out and test it on her bare foot. Like he's got
feet.
The weirdest fetish with feet. Of course, it all revolves around. I've got to test. Like the Cinderella.
That's a great.
I got to test my
foot fetish.
Yeah, test your heel to this shoe. It's like he's such a weirdo, but he's so good.
Imagining him where there's a scene where it's all French or all German. He doesn't speak the language. He's just jumping in saying, no, you have to say it like this. You have to say it like this.
Yeah.
Like the ability for him to do that has cemented in my mind. Not only is he one of this generation's greatest screenwriters, but absolutely one of the greatest directors of all time.
And I think one thing that I know he does is I think after the end of every day of filming, he gets all the cast and the crew around. He goes, I want to thank you for this. I want to thank you for this. I know we had troubles with this today. But he goes, all right, why are we all here? And then all in unison, they all say, because we love making movies. So like he just like loves doing. So like I think he encompasses, like he gets everyone involved with the cast and the crew. And he always, whenever you watch interviews, he always speaks about kind of like the power of cinema and like the love that he has of cinema from a very, very early age. So anything that he does or anything that he's going to do, you know that he's going to put 120% of it in. I just can't wait to see what it is.
Me either. I haven't heard that before. I love hearing that. I think every time I hear him speak in like an interview or on this podcast, he just loves cinema, and that really shows in all of his movies.
And he's only got one more film left. By his own terms. Like he said, I want to do 10, then I'm out.
Man, for a lot of ways, like this film was a return to form in that, you know, you got the first part of his saga, which is obviously the Gangland, you know, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Jackie Brown. And then you got the second part, which is like the art house exploitation movies like Kill Bill and Death Proof.
Death and
then it
Grindhouse,
was
yeah.
this movie. It was really the start of that last phase that we see ourselves in, where he's literally, and I've never seen this done before until this film.
Yeah.
Where he's literally reimagining history.
Yeah.
And creating alternate timelines and all different stuff like that. So how he's done it is just insane. It's really ballsy to do.
So ballsy.
Especially with like a
Such a sensitive topic.
Exactly, like a story that some people would say he doesn't have the right to tell.
Yeah.
But also, it's a movie. Like everyone has had their own luxuries with movies over the So I want to ask you about this is I didn't pick up on it when I first watched it a couple times, but when Brad Pitt Aldo does the inscription onto Lander's head, like the Nazi signal, and Rain goes, I think that might be my masterpiece. I didn't pick up on it, but all the critics kind of panned Tarantino because they think he's secretly saying that about
his film.
This movie.
Wow.
He goes,
it's like meta.
He goes, I think this may be my masterpiece. And they thought that was too on the nose.
Yeah.
Because it ends on that.
Yeah, it ends on that.
Straight to the classic.
So he's telling the
directed by-
audience that's my best movie.
Yeah, this is my best movie to date.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's good. That's a good take.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Yeah.
And then I was reading stuff about it, and there were a lot of people panned him for that because, like, oh, you don't need to say that. That's up to the audience to decide.
Yeah, right.